Welcome to Money Adventures with TK, a podcast for the ordinary young African who is determined to get their personal finances right. Willing to have a better relationship with your money? Well, this podcast is for you.
Hello, fellow trailblazers. Welcome to Money Adventures with TK. So in today's episode, I have the privilege of chatting to one of the most trailblazing young women within the financial services industry. The reason I invited her here today is because I believe that she's got a lot of knowledge, industry insights that can help a young person, particularly female in this case, with managing her finances. And the reason I brought her here, it's part and parcel of me celebrating Women's Day that was on the 9th of August. So I thought, let's bring some amazing content and a guest that I believe has the right knowledge and insights into how young women can manage their finances better. So I have the privilege of speaking to Nthabeleng, and then she will introduce herself and tell us who she is, and then we'll get straight into the conversation. Hi, Nthabeleng, how are you?
Hi, TK. I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic, thank you. So tell us a bit about yourself. Who is Nthabeleng? For the listener who is listening out there, what would you want the listener to know about Nthabeleng? Who is Nthabeleng?
So I'm Nthabeleng Mpharoe, also Nthabeleng Mpharoe-Khoali. I studied economics, and I'm currently working at one of the banks in the country in a management role. So I'm definitely not a financial advisor, but I think through the different jobs that I've been doing in the bank, I can actually advise, especially when it comes to taking off debt.
Okay, great. So the first question I have today is, as a young girl growing up, what do you wish you were taught about money?
I wish I was taught that money comes in different streams. It's not just a matter of going to school and getting a good job.
Okay. And then, so you said you studied economics. Maybe take us through the academic journey and your professional journey, like where you started, what did you study, and maybe why you decided to study what you studied.
Okay. So in terms of why I studied economics, when I completed my high school, I actually wanted to do architecture or civil engineering. I recall in my secondary levels, I actually did the woodwork and the metalwork because that's what I wanted to do. But then I had one of my history teachers asking me, you're very good at accounting, why are you not doing BCom accounting? And my reason was, everyone is doing it. And she was like, okay, have you heard of economics? I didn't know what economics was. And that's when I got to hear about economics and see, okay, you can actually do it and minor in business administration. So I did that, got to the National University of Lesotho and graduated in 2009. And then I got employed in a bank in 2010. I resigned in 2012 to go and further my studies to do honors degree at UCT. I then got employed again in 2013 at the same bank.
So let's maybe talk a bit about the resigning. What was the reason behind you deciding I'm going to leave my job and go back to school?
So the job that I was doing, it wasn't much fulfilling. That one I can tell you. And because I just couldn't be working and studying at the same time, I think I was looking at my age. For me, it was an opportunity just to go and see where that will land me.
So now you come back after maybe a year or two, a year after a year studying your honors, and then you get back into the banking industry, and then you start working again. So with the extensive experience you have within the financial services industry, what are some of the common mistakes you've seen women specifically make when it comes to managing their finances?
So the greatest challenge there is where people take debt that is not very much, the purpose not being aligned to the tenor of the loan. For instance, you find somebody just taking a loan for their wedding ceremony and paying it over a very long period of time. It doesn't make sense. Like, you need to understand of the different lending solutions within the bank for you to make sure that for that sole purpose that you're taking to, if this is the right solution that I'm taking. So that's the one mistake that I've seen most women making. And the other one, it comes with the savings. So we have this belief that you can only start saving when you've got significant amount of money, something that drops to thousands. But saving in hundreds, it also helps. And you find it's one of those monies that you don't need, but that come very handy during your rainy days.
I love the rainy days. So when you speak about, so you've spoken about savings and debt. So the other misconception that is out there is, or a myth rather, is that women aren't confident investors. And being an economist, having studied economics, is there some truth to it? And if so, what would you say is the reason that women are seen as not confident when it comes to investments?
So there is a little bit of truth in it. Reasons being, as women, we like comfort. And for us, that comfort comes with security. So if I'm going to be investing in a certain project, I'm going to make sure that I've got somebody actually managing that, or at least it's very clear in terms of the returns when it comes to that project. So investing in things like stocks is very easy for me as a woman. But if you're going to say, okay, I've got this business opportunity that I would like us to venture into, it's going to take me time to come into terms, because I'm going to ask you, okay, TK, what are the repayment period for that project? And what if it fails? So our greatest limitation is actually failure. The fear of failure is what is limiting us as women. But you'll be surprised on how strong are we when it comes to other things.
Interesting. So again, I think as a follow-up as well, is the other myth is that women are very risk averse, and having dealt with a lot of, a part of your career, you've worked as a credit manager, I would like to believe, is that a good or a bad thing?
So that's a personal question, depending on who you're talking to. But what I can tell you is, when it comes to debt taking, women are not risk averse at all. The reason why I'm saying that is you find that when you've got a family and you tell them, okay, you've got a certain amount of money that you qualify for, the husband is going to say, okay, let us think about it. But the wife has got an answer right there. We are willing to take, because not necessarily that will be wasting the money, but it's because we know the needs of the household and we know what that money can actually bring to the household. So in terms of debt taking, we are right number one. So the other one was around the
is it a good or a bad thing? Debt. Is debt good? So there's what we call good debt and bad debt. So let's maybe unpack in your view what good debt would be and what bad debt would be.
So for me, there is no bad debt, especially when you know what you are taking the money for, and as long as you have aligned that purpose with the time frame of repayment. I'm going to say that because there are people that believe that if you're going to buy a car through debt, that is a bad decision, simply because you're talking about a depreciating asset. But think about it. You also have someone that is going to take debt for their traveling or vacation. And there are people that actually take credit card for that. Simply to say, this is one product I'm going to use to monitor my spending on vacation. You see how intentional that person is. They know exactly what they're doing. It's not a bad decision. And there comes a point in time when they're going to tell you, from a credit card, my limit is say 20K. If I exit, it says my spending habits, it's becoming reckless.
Yeah.
And for me, that's not a bad debt taker. That person is actually intentional and they're actually managing their finances very well. And you have someone on the other side that is just going to take, say, $100,000 loan. They have a purpose now. They want to do a certain business. However, there's a pinch in that money. 5,000 goes somewhere, and then at the end of the day, the business has not been established, but the purpose was right. So for me, a bad debt is just a debt taken for wrong reasons, and then mismatching the payment period with the purpose.
Interesting. I've been guilty of taking debt to go on holiday. But I was
over 5 years.
well, luckily I paid it off very quickly, but that's one of my financial mistakes that I've made. So the other thing is we spoke about savings. So a lot of women are also part of stokvels kapa mekhatlo, you know. But for me, the one thing that I always find a bit limiting is they save up to buy groceries at the end of the year, they share, and that's it. So what are some of the ideas that comes to mind for you to say that how we can use these savings clubs to accelerate and achieve bigger financial goals?
Okay. So fortunately enough, what I've seen of late is ladies coming together to form those stokvels and then having plans to let them mature or grow into investment opportunities. So I'm one of those ladies. Like, we're a group of 10 ladies. We started off in a mkhatlo. We didn't know where actually would we be taking it, but the one thing that we wanted was to ensure that we've got our family set, especially our kids, because when you look at how things are now, it's not guaranteed that the next generation there will still be jobs out there. But yes, the jobs will be there, but the supply and the demand, which is a challenge now. You've got a lot of supply, but the demand is not actually there, and you've got COVID now that has hit the economic activity very hard, and you just don't know where you're heading. So with those stokvels, what I can say is the ladies, we just need to be intentional and let them graduate from savings into investments. Like, look for business opportunities and other things that you can actually do. Like, you don't need it to reach $1 million, your savings. You can actually start small. Yeah.
Interesting. And I think for me, the other thing, as you spoke about legacy, you know, and creating a future for your kids and creating opportunities for whatever you want to achieve, you know. So the other question that comes to mind is research indicates that women are living longer than men, you know. So from a retirement planning perspective, I suppose a lady would retire at 60 or 65 and then live maybe 25 to 30 years longer post that, you know. So in your view, why is it important for people to start planning and thinking about their retirement?
So it is very important because when you get to that age, there's a lot of health needs that you need to make sure that they're well catered for. Like, for instance, you've got your medical aid benefits that you have now. You just need to make sure that the medical aid type that you have entered into, what does it mean once you reach your retirement age? Does it mean that I will still need to continue contributing, or it stops when I reach retirement, but I will still need to get those benefits? So if it's not going to be giving you that, then it says that is, if you still need to be contributing, you now need to sit down now and look at what your expenses look like, and then start to have the different income streams that are going to help you maintain that need once you get to your retirement age.
And then the last question that I have, second last question that I have is, in the article I wrote last week, I was emphasizing the importance of having a will, a valid will at that. And what I've seen is a lot of households in Lesotho are not very comfortable with talking about wills, you know. So in your view, what are your views when it comes to planning for your estate and actually sitting down and preparing a will?
So the reason why we don't talk about wills is because Lesotho, we think they are associated with death, and we don't like talking about death. But the times they're actually saying otherwise. COVID, we don't know if you'll still be here next week or what. So what does it then say about your kids and your loved ones? So I think we now need to be talking about having wills, and understanding that they are not solely the responsibility of the husband. Like, as the woman as well, even if you're not working, but you need to understand the finances of the house and the wealth of the household. Where do they sit? We know they will always be coming in when the husband passes away, and you need to be mentally ready for whatever happens.
And I think it also emphasizes the importance of actually protecting your kids, you know, if you're a parent, because in an instance where you die without a will, suddenly come in and now they want to take over. And many a time I've seen kids being left, family assets being taken away from the kids as beneficiaries. So I think you've really pretty much summed it up. And then in closing, what are your closing remarks for a young lady or young man listening to Money Adventures with TK? What do you want to leave them with?
So for the young ladies out there, like I said, we all want to be the real housewives. So just make sure that you've got, say, minimum of 3 income streams. It doesn't come easy, but there's a lot of things that you can actually explore. Just having your job alone where you are an employee, it's actually a ticking bomb. And you don't know now when will your employer say, okay, times are tough and we've got to release you. So just be ready for that. And start saving as well. So to say you save as a lady, it doesn't mean we demean your manicure, we demean your makeup. No, you can still try to enjoy the better things in life, but make sure that you do have your savings. And for the gentlemen as well, what I would like to say to them is money talks in the household. It's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. And a good, healthy relationships, they come with us talking about money and being free about it. If you've got your wife as a bad spender, is not a bad thing. Just talk about it and take it through it. Yeah.
I love the last part, because in the videos I shot, one of the ladies actually spoke about a financial date. So she said, just like we normalize everything else, couples, people, families should actually normalize having financial dates. So I think for me, you really brought it home when you say that the man also needs to be comfortable with talking about money in the household.
And TK, when you talk of financial dates, we get worried about small things. Like once a month, you just need to bring in your bank statement.
Yes.
I bring my bank statement and see, did we do well this month, or then there was that money that we cannot account for.
Yes.
It's not a bad thing. And to say your partner cannot account for a certain money, you don't need to be scolding at him or her. But it's just say, okay, how do we do better next month? Because remember, we are this generation that's got this hype without I live for the moment and but then again,
YOLO lebeke will be the death of some of us.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, Nthabeleng, for coming through to Money Adventures. I think this has really been a very insightful, very light conversation as well. So if you've been listening to Money Adventures with TK, remember to leave your comment below, share it with somebody who will definitely benefit from this conversation. And then last but not least, subscribe, because we're trying to build the community of trailblazers. Also make sure to follow me on my YouTube channel, where I bring you fresh content on money, travel, and lifestyle. Escapes with TK, Money Adventures with TK, and just like that, we are done. This episode was to celebrate Women's Day that was on the 9th of August. To all the beautiful ladies out there, keep on smiling, keep on being beautiful, and keep on managing your finances well. And to all the gentlemen, let's keep supporting our women and protecting them against everything else that they're dealing with. And just like that, love, peace, and money. Thank you guys. Bye.
You've been listening to Money Adventures with TK. We want to hear from you. Don't be shy to like, comment, and share. Money's an adventure. Let's enjoy the ride.